Well, good afternoon. Today we're here again with Buffy Bliss, the orgasmic housewife. Hi.
Hi.
And
I
we
find it
wanted to
funny that I have a bed in the back.
apropos. No. Today we're going to talk a little bit about masculine and feminine energy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, before we get going, I just wanted to say that, you and I have talked about this off and on for a little while. And I know that some people can perceive that a little bit differently when you start talking about masculine and feminine energy. But to be fair, to be inclusive, I want to make sure that anybody listening understands that we're not talking about this in terms of gender, okay? That needs to be really, really pointed out that we're not just going along the lines of men and women, males and females, all right? We're talking about a different concept here that brings together the more esoteric, I guess, concepts of
Yeah.
energy. And that could be coursing through the body of anybody. And how does that come out to play? So, um, how in the heck did you even get into this idea of what now? How did this happen?
I got into it after screaming like a hysterical, angry person at my boyfriend for maybe a day or something. I don't even remember, to the point of like not even being able to remember words that I had said. So basically I hulked out. This is something that I have struggled with for um, many years, just from time to time. And it's just usually when I'm feeling really threatened. And, it was a fairly newer relationship, and I had already been divorced. And, I certainly was terrified of committing again. However, it was like, it was like my intuition and my body and everything knew that this was the right person, but all of my fears and my protective mechanisms, and almost like my armor that I had put on in order to kind of start creating a life where I was going to be taking care of myself, it just came up. And then he became a threat, and I had my armor and I had my sword, and he got it full blast, to the point of being um very nervous about what I was capable of in that state.
Yeah.
And I have never, ever groveled. I've never begged. I've never apologized at the level. And I had never said, I'm really sorry. I have a problem. I have a lot of pain I have never worked through.
Mm,
I spent umpteen years loving Jesus and trying my best and trying to get healed, but there is some stuff I can't seem to fix. And I said, I know. And I said, I'm willing to do anything. I know it's me. I know there's nothing wrong with you, but I
mm,
can't help but feel threatened by this situation constantly, to a point where either I'm not ready and we shouldn't move forward, or I just need help.
yeah.
So I ended up going in the direction of this one woman. Um, Her name is Claudia, and you can find her on Facebook. She's just fantastic. She works with single women that are dating. Claudia Phillips. She,
I think I've
I
heard
have
of
been
her.
following
Claudia
her.
Phillips.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I've been following her for quite a while, and she posted this video. And I was like, I knew that what that girl was talking about was my problem. And she
Mm,
was talking about the muse inside of every woman, the ability to inspire a man. And I was like, that is what I do not have. I have the ability to inspire them to want to leave and to want to get as far away from me as possible. That's the inspiration that I am. I knew it when I left my husband. I had like this in my mind. It was like, you don't inspire him. And I knew
Mm,
it. And that's why I left. I didn't know how to inspire. I No one ever taught me anything. My mom was married 13 times. I just had no idea. So I worked with Claudia and I didn't know what feminine energy. Actually, I had heard about masculine and feminine energy, but I didn't understand this muse like quality about the feminine energy aspect. I didn't really understand this this kind of ungraspable concept because I am highly, my brain works very logically. I have very masculine strengths and
mhm,
always have. So I have a very strategic and logical mind.
mhm, mhm,
Um, so the way it was presented to me was um, actually, it made sense and
mhm.
it worked like magic. So
I
it had this grounded, like informative thing that was biological as well as spiritual, as it's kind of connected to the nervous system. It had that aspect, but it also had this kind of magic, this like that was so easy, so much easier than all the other relationship crap I had learned.
mm,
That took a lot of like bearing down or like putting up with and just like it was a lot of work. Everything was more work. I had no energy left for working on a relationship.
mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's how it
yeah.
started.
And we've kind of talked a little bit about this before. It's like, we're both people that are in that kind of post-feminist era where um it's almost kind of not okay to be feminine. And I hate to say it that
The
way,
riot girl.
right? Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, in
Yeah.
or
We're right.
maybe there's that when you were speaking initially, I have you seen that meme where it's what's her name that was the female warrior? She was on TV in the 90s.
Yeah, warrior princess, baby.
Xena Warrior
That's my
Princess, and
alter ego.
yeah, and she's screaming, I am a delicate feminine flower,
Yeah.
but she's in like full battle regalia, and I think we kind of grew up with that. Like we've got to be this and we can't be that, and we're gonna go home and or we're gonna go to work and we're gonna get the bacon and we're gonna bring it home and fry it in the pan and we're gonna do all of it. And a
Yeah.
good friend of mine once said that feminists in that era were kind of sold, not that we aren't feminists in the sense that we own our femininity and we are
Yeah.
equal in a lot of different ways,
Yeah.
but that we were sold the lie that we could have it all. And instead, we ended up doing it
Doing it
all
all.
to the
Yeah.
point of burnout and exhaustion. And this is the aftermath that we're seeing in our society is so many women that are exhausted and burnt out. They're paying for it in their bodies.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, I think, that are also probably exhausted and burnt out and don't know what to do because they're not,
Emotionally. Yeah.
they don't know what to do. So whether we're calling it yin and yang or whether we're
Yeah.
calling it the masculine and the feminine, that's got to be balanced somehow. So you came to this conclusion within yourself.
Yeah.
Then what? Then what? Where do you go from there?
When you were saying that, I you're absolutely like spot on, like, and the thing that I started to realize is that the femininity within me never needed to be proved. I
Mm,
never needed, we never have needed to prove it through what we do.
mm,
We just are. Like, you just have it. We all have it. It's not something we have to, we can cultivate it. So basically, like, I'm kind of cultivating aspects of myself that are just me and they have always been there,
mm,
that I had pushed down in order to prove my worth to the world and
mm,
to whomever, that I'm good enough. So for me, feminine energy work has been about reconnecting with that side of myself that have been pushed down in order to survive or thrive or succeed. Um, and then what was your question? I already lost it. I thought that was really important because someone said that one time, whether you are a masculine kind of core person, no matter what your sex or orientation is, you kind of have like a core, like
mhm,
your go-to. And no matter what that is, it's actually more about like not having to prove that. You don't have to prove it. It's more about you, just you being you authentically,
yeah,
and like being okay with it and not giving a shit really about what other people think. It's funny because it may seem weaker to other people, but those people are busy being controlled by what they think about other people thinking about them
mhm,
and how they're perceived rather than just being who they are comfortably in their own skin.
yeah.
So it's really big. To me, it's huge. Um, I forgot your question.
Well, I guess one of the questions I had is, have you noticed as you started to kind of move into that realization? I mean, because you there was a lot right there too, just that recognition of like, have I been acting out of a place of needing to prove worth somehow when really this was already inside of me? And if I let myself settle into that, that will naturally come out. So as we're naturally allowing ourselves to come out, is there a possibility that you're going to kind of head up against pros and cons of operating within your natural masculine or feminine self?
Yes, and I can think of an example. So for years I just had all of this like pent up emotion. Just I kind of didn't have space in my life to feel it, because of just all the work and being tired and then having chronic pain on top of that. My focus would become kind of taking care of my physical pain. There wasn't really a lot of room for my emotional pain, and it might come out like one day a week. And I thought, oh, what is this? This is like, there must be something wrong for just years. And then I'm thinking I have a mental health problem. And then I'm like, no, I'm just like, I'm a woman and I have hormones and they go up and down and that's normal. And I'd be telling myself it's normal, but I'm really thinking this isn't normal. And so when I started in the work, that was literally kind of the first thing, is that the floodgates were, I was given permission to allow myself to feel all and every bit of feelings that I had fully, like to
Mm,
just take a season and allow all of my feelings. So that was terrifying. And a lot of them came out on social media because I'm like an emotional nudist. I am all about like just being out there and being vulnerable and like sharing stuff that understand now that triggers people. So what I noticed is it triggered a lot of healthy masculine men to go into fix it mode. So I started seeing how they would respond to my emotion with, problem solving or whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I would notice how that made me feel. And it took a while to kind of understand, oh, okay, that doesn't really make me feel seen or heard or valued. It kind of makes me think you think that I'm broken and
Mm.
I need fixing. And at the same time, I appreciate how your energy works. Your energy goes into, I love you. I want to help you. Have you tried this? So it
Yes.
was kind of like this learning to hold the tensions of the masculine and the feminine, to hold the tension of like recognizing this person trying to love me, but also feeling like they don't really understand me and they kind of just want it to be over so they don't have to see me or feel me. So
Yeah.
they don't have to feel. So their own feminine, they don't like it. I don't like it. It's icky.
Mm.
So that was kind of it was a definitely the con was in really caring about what people think about me and their
Mm.
perception of me. Like, am I going crazy? Like, is it time to call somebody to help Buffy? She's losing it. We don't know this person. Why is she sharing all this personal stuff? Like, I didn't even know, I know her life sucked, but she always seemed great. And now she's like falling apart. Ooh, and now she's getting married. So, yeah.
That ends up being, I think, a good thing in a way, though, is that is when you are coming into your own selfhood and your own agency. A big sign of that is having reactions in other people, you know.
Yeah.
And again, that kind of
One,
goes back to, is that I mean, yeah, it can trigger a reaction in another person, but there should be a pause there for everybody kind of take a time out and say, why is this triggering a reaction in me? And there has been a
yeah.
lengthy history of, okay, let's just not talk about this emotion. Let's not acknowledge this emotion. Let's not acknowledge this thought, especially when we're talking about gender divide, and
Yeah.
push that away and kind of put it into a box. And a lot of times I think men specifically, they get frightened by that because, as you mentioned, they just want to fix it.
Yeah.
They just, can I build you like a birdhouse or something that you can shove all of that shit in, and maybe we'll put it in the backyard? It's not that the intention's bad, they just don't know what to do it. Is it
Tell
catching?
you the truth. I'm the same. And you're the same.
Oh yeah.
We're highly masculine. That's why we coach people. We
Yeah.
love to fix. We go right into fix it mode.
Yeah.
We have to we have to learn how to just be present and empathize. And that is a part that was in there, but that never got cultivated.
Yeah.
Not just men. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Women these days do not know how to hold space for one another. So now I notice myself when I respond to other women who have put something out there, and I just say, "Oh, girl, I fucking know what you mean. I feel you."
Mm-hmm.
That is a very it's a feminine energy response because it didn't go into a practical. That's all. It's like if you can think of masculine as in the outdoor in the world, like these are the
Tangible.
walls. They were built.
Tangible.
You can see them.
Yeah.
Tangible, right? Fix it mode. But these are the feminine energy is that these are the feelings. I feel you. I hear you. I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And men do that just as well sometimes. And it just seems to be, and for me, because I am a black and white logical thinker, having masculine and feminine helps me recognize, oh, your go-to is probably going to be a little more on the feminine, and your go-to is going to be, and it's not about their sex, it's just about their energy or
Mm-hmm.
what they've learned thus far.
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes, and then that their reaction felt like less of a threat. It gave me answers. It gave me very quick, easy judgment.
Discernment or judgment? Yeah.
Yeah, judgment in the form of, yeah, discerning,
Yeah.
where that person's coming from,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
also understanding for me the perspective that generally men are coming from a good place. That was not a belief system of mine. Um, so that's a whole other ball of wax, really. Um, very hard to kind of to heal that feminine energy when we have this kind of wounded relationship with the masculine, or the wounded masculine has hurt us, or we've been wounded by him, and then a lot of the work is like healing the wounded masculine within me.
Mm-hmm.
That's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. I see that a lot in the reverse too. There's a lot of, I think, men that have that wounded feminine, or just
yeah,
women that have the wounded feminine as well, and how they respond whenever that comes out, no matter what the gender is. And
yeah,
some months back, I was actually having a conversation with somebody, and they said something really interesting. They were like, "Oh, I bet you don't, you're freaked out, or you scared by, or you don't like all all white men, blah blah blah." And I said, that's really, and I don't know why you would say that. Some of my most favorite people that I love dearly are old white men, actually, like being at the top of my list. Like, and so I was like, have I said or done anything that would make you have that assumption? And it actually made them go, well, you're a female. I'm like, yeah,
right.
that's really sad if you've kind of been wandering around in the world and you've just encountered nothing but women who have a beef against like white dudes. Like,
Yeah,
I'm very sorry that you've had that experience, bro, but please believe not everybody's that way. But I went away and I thought about that. And then it made me think about like what's happening with our society, or our genders, or the energy in people, or the
yeah,
wounding in people, that they're
yeah,
walking around, and then when they try to come together, there's that clash.
yeah.
And how are you going to rearrange that and heal that? Which I guess makes me wonder how you've been able to utilize this perspective of the feminine and the masculine energy in relationships, and how you've utilized that in the work that you do.
Right. Yeah. So relationship triggers are probably my most difficult triggers to deal with, because I just have so much childhood trauma and childhood hurts and wounds. And, it's very well known that your spouse or your significant other, whoever they are, whatever sex they are, is going to be around, and they're going to work on your nerves. They're going to work on,
Poking each
your
button.
deepest wounds, because you have opened, right? The more you like, that's the one thing about the feminine work, is allowing yourself to open, like slowly opening and opening some more. That takes trust.
Yeah.
Every single one of us has so many trust issues. Most of us aren't even all in
Mm.
a
Mm.
relationship. We
Mm.
always have a back door.
Oh,
I have a plan A, B, C to Z generally still, but because I know that, I can watch my behavior and feel my body and go, oh, am I still, and am I doing plan Z still? And what am I worried about? What am I afraid of? What triggered me to think that I wasn't safe? that he was threatening, and some I can work on that, and I open and I'll open and I'll keep opening. Sometimes it's even sharing that with him,
Yeah.
sharing like, wow, that even like even your love scares me to death. I am
Ooh.
terrified. It's almost just the love, just even the more I've been able to like take this position. So I always use my thing back here, which ended up being an accident, but like this is a vagina, right? And this is a penis. I mean, and that only in that the masculine energy is it more of a giving or providing because it's tactile, right? Whereas receiving is this or feminine energy is more of this receiving kind of, which makes sense as to why we are the inspirers, right? We're inspiring in order to get the thing, our desires, which are never ending, whether it's shoes or fun or just orgasms generally, most of the time, a lot of those
More,
more.
more.
That's why we're never happy because we're made to constantly desire, which is why we're always complaining because no matter what he's ever done to give, that's just like base level stuff. I want more, more. So the
So
more
to
I've learned to
clarify, if it to all the men out there, we just want more orgasms. That's why we're not happy yet.
and if it's one, then that means now I want two in a row. And then if I had two in a row, I would like to experience three. What would that be like? And then, I mean, it's like the nature of this we are like the desire. It's just like desire in its raw, wild, animalistic nature, you
Yeah.
know. It's like it sucks things in, So those are the suckers. We suck you in. So anyway, yeah, the more I receive, the
The more you
more,
want.
almost like if you're a person having sex with another person, oftentimes, and this isn't just females, the more
Yeah.
you sleep with a person, the more emotionally you connected you become with that person. You have received intimacy in some level with them. You've received some kind of authenticity, a connection, whether you're just playing together. It doesn't matter. You opened yourself up to them. You've given them your energy, your time. They've given it to you. You are connected. And that creates fears. Your fears come up,
Yeah.
you know. So some of us will just like close ourselves off and we are able to just sleep with people to have that need met. But we very much know all of our wounds and our triggers. So we can shut that off and not have to deal with them. But being
Mhm.
in a long term relationship means seeing your stuff
Yeah.
and dealing with it.
Yeah.
I was ready to heal, and my body knew I had found the kind of man I could heal with. I just intuitively knew this one is going to push me to be a better person.
To heal through that. Well, maybe we need
I,
to do that. Maybe the next one needs to be about healing and how that shows up in the body.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's been the amazing part is how this energy work has it's so connected with the body, and then you've got physical healing that comes along with that. Yeah, that's complicated.
We're
And
gonna
yet
do it.
very simple.
It's going
So
on the list. It's
yeah.
my little list making. You know me, I like label makers and list making, so it's gone on the list. It's gonna
Oh my
happen
God.
now.
My husband and I, we both have our own label makers. So that tells you we're why we're meant to be.
Well, do you have a final thought for for this topic today? A final
Um,
takeaway?
I just like I think this work is people are learning about it more, but there's a lot of confusion surrounding it, and you can study all you want, but the work is actually in your body. And so just studying things like logically kind of only gets you to a certain place. So having a person to help you kind of facilitate some practices that will get you connected with your body and your emotions is important, whether you're a man or a woman, whatever energy you're working on. I work with women because I'm a woman. So if you are a man or whatever, and you feel that you are a feminine energy core person, I would be happy to work with you. I only know how to work with the feminine energy and
Yeah.
healing the masculine, the wounded masculine energy within yourself. I just don't have any knowledge about the other, very
Yeah.
little. And so I hope to someday. So yeah, I just absolutely want to invite people to work with me on this. If you feel like this is something that you've kind of been drawn to or heard about but are confused about, you've been studying it, but you're having a hard time practicing, there's a reason. That's because you need to be able to relax and have someone help you kind of invite your core self back. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to say it. And
There's
that's
a
what I
lot
do.
of I mean,
Mhm.
it's a type of an embodiment
Yes.
practice, which
Yes.
if you have not never done that, or you're unfamiliar with, or you've been really disconnected or disassociated from for a long time, absolutely having a great practitioner like you, Buffy, that can help work through, get out of here and start getting back into here and listening to that and recognizing those signals. I mean, it changes the game, because obviously if what you were doing up here was working for you, it would have worked already. That's just It would have
Yes.
worked already.
And I think the tricky part, to tell you the truth, with the feminine energy is that when working on that energy, it can't be done until we can let go of our agendas. And everything that's ever taught in about relationships and fixing relationships always has an agenda. I can get
Yeah.
this by doing this. Try this, do do do. There's always an agenda. Letting go of your agendas, number one, you may not even realize what they are. Number two, you certainly don't know how to let go of them. There
Mm,
is an aspect of surrender in the feminine, and that is not a word that a lot of us are anywhere near comfortable stepping into,
yeah.
because it doesn't feel safe, but it feels really good, like really wonderful to let go of our agendas, which are mostly coming from our pain body or from our fear.
Yeah. I
So
love
there's an awful lot of, whether you're in a relationship or not, there's this huge amount of healing that comes when we can lay down all of these fears.
I love it. Well, I hope we can talk more. I look forward to our next one.
Thanks, Jamie.
Much love.
I
Mwah.
love you. Oh, yeah. Buffy, let's see. Buffy Bliss, the Orgasmic Housewife School of Bliss on Facebook.
Yes. I'll
And
include
on
some
YouTube,
links.
it's School of Bliss. She'll, yeah, do the thing.
We'll do some things and we'll include some links, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Jamie.